Hello, all right. How you guys doing? Happy Tuesday. I think we are on. So good to see you guys in the comments. Hello, hello. How is everybody? I'm super excited to be here with you guys together. Let me just take a look and see what you guys are saying. It's so fun to be live with you. So great to see you guys coming in from everywhere. So awesome. So glad you guys got the invitation. So from Wales, do you know I actually have my mom on my mom's side? And I know it's like every American is like, I'm from Ireland from like 5 generations ago. Well, I have that in Wales. I'm like, I have like some ancestry from Wales, which is fun. So, and on my mom's, I'm basically a mutt. I'm like a combination of like everything. So I can't really claim any one country, but anyways, it's fun, still fun, right? Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that compliment about the photo. I appreciate that. And from Russia, wow, really cool. Eastern Oregon. I love Oregon. I call Oregon the free to be me state. I love I went to college in Oregon at Lewis and Clark in Oregon, and it's such a free to be. It's just like a place where you're just like be yourself in Oregon. Just you do you. I love that about it. Yeah. And from New Mexico, phenomenal. So good to have everybody here. Pennsylvania, yay. Knoxville, fantastic. Oh, with your grandmother. Hi, Laura, Lana's grandmother. I love that you're here with us. Thank you. Oh, good. Oh, and from the Netherlands, awesome. Athens. Holy cow, this is awesome, you guys. It's Nova Scotia in Canada, Florida. Wow. Oh my gosh. This is so amazing. Wow, wow, wow. I'm so happy. I love this. It's technology. Sometimes, like, there's just no beating it, you guys, that we can all be here at the same time, like this from all over the world. Wow. I know it's like been a thing for a while, but it just never, it's like getting on the internet when you're in an airplane. Like you're like that never gets old for me. The same thing as getting on here and being able to connect from all over the world at the same time. Never gets old. So much fun. So thank you for joining me. I love this chance to talk to you guys. And I wanted to have some time together to talk about the healing journey. And I know many of you are. Some of you are going to be healers yourself. Some of you are going to be deep in your healing journey. Some of you may be curious. Maybe you have heard about it, and and so everyone's going to be somewhere on that spectrum. And some of you may have just shown up because it was like, this looks like fun. I doubt it. Most everybody here is here on purpose. So yeah. So I have been on my own healing journey. I talk about it all the time. You guys know, in my regular Friday broadcast. So those of you who are newer to me, you guys know I share a message from the angels every Friday, and I am a trance channel. That's what I do. I go into a deep meditative state, and I raise my awareness. I connect at the angelic realm. I bring messages, awareness, and then predominantly healing. A healer is what I am first and foremost. And I started my journey as a healer. I share those messages, by the way, weekly, and the angels are always there with us. They've been guiding us for these last, really the last. I actually just got an alert that I just hit 5 years today. Today was my 5 year anniversary, YouTube anniversary. I've been on here for 5 years, so sharing these messages from the angels, and as a trance channel. But I wasn't always. I didn't start as a trance channel. I started as a healer. And my early crazy wake up experiences, like the things that woke me up big time. My one of the first things I had was a dream that literally came true. That was like I was there physically seeing it. And then, oh, hello, my friend Martha is here too. I just saw your name pop up, Martha. Everyone say hi to Martha. Martha is so nice. It's so great when I see you guys in here with me. Thank you for being here. Anyways, so it started out, but some of the early things that taught me about my healing experience or my healing modality. One time I was coming back. I had just gone to A Fest, which is a festival that Mind Valley puts on, if any of you are familiar with that. And it was a big event. I think we were in I went to it twice. So I think this was the year that we were in Costa Rica. And I had met some really wonderful friends. And on my way home, I'd just gotten home actually, and I was thinking about one of my friends that I met there. And as I thought about her, all of a sudden, out of the blue, I was literally inside of her body looking out. and talk about something that's going to shake you up, right? That's going to be like, okay, what was that? I have this incredibly clear vision. Seeing, I knew I'm looking out of her eyes. I see that she's on an airplane. I see the like flip down TV, airplane TV she's watching. I see what actor is on the screen. I see her look this way. I see her notice the shoe. This woman was wearing some sandals. I see the sandals. And then I'm like so startled. I flip out of my body. And then I immediately text her like, "Where are you right now?" And a couple hours later, she gets back to me and she's like, "Oh yeah, I was on a flight." And I asked her, "Were you watching this show? Were you looking at these sandals?" And everything was a yes. And I realized that yeah, I was actually having this sort of bilocation experience of moving into another person's body, which I know that sounds so weird, you guys. And I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't experienced it. So I started practicing to try to understand like why. That's the first thing that comes to my head. Why? Like why did that happen? Well, I practiced and learned, and I just so you know, I have learned how to control it. I don't ever violate someone's privacy without their explicit permission. So that's something that, and ironically, the angels have told me like that I shouldn't feel that way. That we're meant to all be one, and that if we have gifts, we should use them. But it's just we are still living in the world that we live in, and people still value their privacy. So I still don't do that without permission. But the main point of it is I eventually learned that that was how my healing modality was meant to work. And so I stumbled across it. It wasn't like I didn't take a class. There was no rule book. There was no book I could read that would teach it to me. I stumbled into it. And it required that I learn by doing, that I learn by practicing and just seeing what worked. And so as it turned out, my healing modality, when I used to, this is back when I first started I was kind of doing this full time back then. I used to work, I would do one-on-one sessions. And what I would do is I would sit down with someone, I would tune into them. And I could do it remotely or I preferred actually at the time to work remotely because I could focus better. I would step into their body. I would step in. And when I stepped in, the angels would step in through me. And then from once I was inside, I could feel as if it was my own body. I could feel where the densities were. I could feel where I could even feel like if they had any issues going on, like for example, if they had a cough or if they had like any kind of apparatus in their body, like like a rod in their spine or whatever. I could feel it all as if it was me. And so what was amazing about it was I got this incredible feedback when I would and I learned to work with energy through visualization because I was also very clairvoyant. I would see things. So I would imagine the energy and I would work with it using a sort of object imagery, which and that was and it was all just figuring it out. There was, like I said, no rule book. I just stumbled into answers and I would try things and I would be like, McKay, is this if I do it this way, does it work? And I would feel and immediately in the body, it's not working. Nothing's changing. I would try it this way. And then all of a sudden, whoosh, I'd feel it shift. And okay, that worked. Same thing with my channeling. It was stumbling into it. I would, like when I first started trance channeling, oh my gosh, you guys, the angels gave me no breaks. They gave me no answers. They basically I sat down to meditate, and lots of you know the story, but I felt this all of a sudden. It was like they sat on top of me, this incredible pressure. I could not understand it. It was so intense I could barely breathe. It was here. It was like like I could barely breathe. I finally realized they weren't trying to come in my body or sit on me, which is I thought what was happening. They were trying to raise my frequency up so I could connect with them, so I could begin to trance channel. It took me 6 months to figure that out. 6 months of me just like struggling to breathe the minute I sat down to meditate. And then once I got up there, I expected them to like start flowing with information and teaching me nothing. Like they said, they just sat there and smiled at me and waited for me to figure out the next step. And it took me another 6 months to figure out that I had to leave part of myself up there and then bring part of myself down here, and then information would flow. So it was a year of just stumble and talk about frustrating, you guys. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So it took me a while to figure it out. So understanding the healing journey has been a lot like that for me. It's been my own journey. Like I have been my own best guinea pig of seeing, because I did not start life woken by any means. My heart was closed. I had my own childhood. We all do. We all have our childhood stuff. Some of you may have been lucky enough to stay open. I was not. My heart was super closed. I was always still me. I was still a kind person. I still I still had good intentions, but I couldn't feel love because my heart was closed. And that was just, it was a self-protection mechanism, so I was very, very asleep, and there was a lot of stuff I was trying not to see, a lot of bad news I didn't want to see, and so I had shut my third eye down. So it took, for me, it was a divorce that woke me up, which I'm eternally grateful to. I know it was part of our soul plan, that we planned it together before coming, that this would be an important part of our lives, and it was absolutely meant to be. And it pulled the rug out from underneath me enough that I had to question everything. I had to go through and think about, like, everything I'd taken for granted. I had to question. And I was very settled, and I had two kids. We had a house, and at the time I was home with the kids. I had been working. I used to work in corporate America, but I'd taken years off to raise my children. I was home, so I was really scared at the time. I didn't know how I was going to support myself. All that stuff, all the stuff, you guys. And then it led me down this bumpy, bumpy path to eventually to where I am now. Like, it was, and the whole thing has been, it has been a constant process of learning and understanding, and learning to follow my heart. But in the process, I came to understand some generalities about healing and about how healing works. And a lot of my journey has been about a gradual process of learning to allow, to release, allow, trust, to trust. So, as a matter of fact, one of the crazy things about the way I design my journey, I say design because we design it before we get here. We plan our lives, and I've seen that really clearly in my dreams. I had very specific dreams showing me. I had this one dream where I am standing with one of my guides, and we are watching, like what looks like a movie strip go by, and we're watching it frame by frame by frame. And I know it's going to be this life that I'm leading now. And we are working on one scene, and there's one scene that, like, needs to go really, really well. So we're practicing it, and we talk to each other, and we're like, well, what if we did it this way? What if we had you say these words and then see what the other person does? And so we would come up with an idea, and then I would jump into the film strip, and I would act it out and play it out as if I was living it. And then I would jump back out, and we would talk about it and be like, what do you think? How did that go? Is that the result we want? And that was the dream, showing me that literally we are scripting those would be like the important junctures in our lives. So, for example, that first very karmic marriage would have been absolutely planned that way, like down to like those first meetings, those first important moments, right? The places where the relationship went really sour, like those are the moments that would have been rehearsed. And yeah, so my journey and the way that I planned for me to grow, for me to heal, were absolutely planned. And it's going to be like that for each of us. So, for example, I know for myself that if I had not gotten on my journey, I would have ended up with colon cancer. I would have ended up dying from some kind of, most likely colon, but digestive cancer. And getting on my journey, the beginning of my journey, all my first things I needed to heal were all related to digestion and health. And I didn't know. I thought I was healthy as far as I knew, but it turned out that that was where I needed to focus first. And I, in coming as part of my planning, I gave myself a gift which would help me do it. So I gave myself the gift of hands-on healing. And not because I was meant to be a hands-on healer in the world, but because hands-on healing, when you use hands-on healing, you're channeling masculine energy. And masculine energy is what I needed to heal my gut, to heal those issues. So the process of healing that, like early on, I had to have a ton of dietary changes. I had to give up dairy and gluten. And lots of I was, I was plant-based, dairy-free, gluten, blah, 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 sorry. Vegan. I don't like to say vegan because I would eat honey and stuff like that. It was plant-based. I was plant-based and gluten-free. And then, but the journey of healing that, it went on for a really, really long time. And it was only literally in the last year when I thought I was going to have to be plant-based and gluten-free my whole life. I assumed that that was just going to be part of the journey for me. Last year, I had an amazing dream. where my guides in the dream showed me how I created, how I brought that into this world, how I brought that into this life, that particular illness or that particular issue, and then showed me that I resolved it. So this is, I'll share it with you. The dream was so amazing, you guys. And Emily is gluten-free, veg too. Yes, so many of us are, you guys, on this journey. So I had a dream that in the dream, and I learn a lot about dreams from a dear friend of mine named Michael Sheridan, which I'm happy to share with you guys. He has an online dream dictionary, which I love, which you can find at ashlingdreamdictionary.com. It's AISLING, Ashling Dream Dictionary is the only dream dictionary I use. And so I highly recommend it. So anyways, uh, so I had this dream that I'm in the dream. I'm on the floor on the kitchen floor. I see my mother there. And so when you dream of something so on the floor means I was a child. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was an infant. And I remember the dream so vividly because I felt in my body, I felt literally like there was a fire in the dream. It feels like my body was on fire and my heart was just racing, like thump, 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 like crazy racing. And in the dream, I think in my head, oh, at least now they'll pay attention to me. And that's the first segment of the dream. So this is me early childhood, clearly very sick, and thinking in my head, I've learned something. When I'm sick, I get attention, right? I'm learning this early. And just so you know, later I talked to my mom and I said, okay, was there anything that happened when I was really young? Did I get? And she said, yep, I had a horrific case of chickenpox. So that's what it was. It was the chickenpox. I had them at 6 months old. So I learned at 6 months old that when I'm sick, I get attention, that people pay attention to me when I'm sick. So then the dream goes ahead and I see myself again on the floor and there's a little girl there who's probably 3 years old. And so that little girl is me. That's this segment of the dream is about me at age 3. And she opens the sliding glass door and in comes a cat. And cats in dreams typically often symbolize the gut. And that has to do, there's all these different reasons for the symbols, but anyways, that's what it means. So the cat the cat comes in, walks past me, but I am on the floor and I kind of, you know how you do nails on the floor and you tap 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 tap, I tap on the floor to draw the cat to me. So this is me at age 3 attracting the gut issues because I know if I do, that's how I will get attention, that's how I will get love from my parents, that's how I'll be seen, right? So when I was little, my parents were going through it like big time. Like my dad was basically not there. My mom was on her own with no support, 2 young children. I just don't think there was a lot of space in their lives for me. And I felt that a lot as a little one, and my dreams show it. So here I am, age 3, going, okay, I'm kind of on my own. I would like more attention. How do I get it? I'm going to call in an illness. So I tap on the floor in the dream. The cat comes over to me. But then here's where it gets really good. So I'm having this dream showing me the progression. They show me how I came up with this idea at 6 months old. They show me age 3, how I called in the gut issue and the illness. And then they show me, this is so exciting. I'm tapping on the floor. The cat's coming close to me. It touches my hand. As soon as it touched my hands, it goes stiff and dies. So the hand, because I'm a hands-on healer, hands represent healing. It is telling me I have healed the issue, which is like mind-blowing. So then the dream shifts. Scene 3. I am now standing in front of me is one of my guides handing me an ice cream cone. And what is an ice cream cone made of?